The Jets' season is over. What's left for Aaron Rodgers' legacy? The New York Jets season is basically a wrap, after a humiliating 31-6 loss to the Arizona Cardinals. The Jets are now 3-7, and any hopes of a playoff run are all but gone. So, the burning question remains. What's left for Aaron Rodgers' legacy? This season was supposed to be the one where Rodgers, at 40 years old, brought the Jets back to relevance. Instead, it's becoming a cautionary tale of how quickly even the best quarterbacks can fall when things go wrong. Rodgers is having one of the worst stretches of his career, and the Jets' offense looks broken. Against the Cardinals, he threw for just 151 yards, and the Jets scored a pathetic 6 points. This isn't just a bad season, it's a full-on failure of an experiment. Rodgers struggles. A far cry from the Green Bay glory days. When you think of Aaron Rodgers, you think of an elite QB who won MVP awards, made pinpoint throws, and led the Packers to a Super Bowl victory. But in 2024, those days feel like a distant memory. His arm looks weaker, his accuracy has faltered, and the connection with his receivers, including Davante Adams, has been non-existent. Rodgers' performance against the Cardinals was painful to watch. And it's not an isolated incident. The Jets' offense has been disjointed all season, and Rodgers just can't seem to find any rhythm. At 40, he's showing signs of wear and tear. And the Jets' experiment, bringing in Rodgers to be the savior of a talented, yet underperforming team, is blowing up in their faces. The once vaunted Jets' defense can't carry the team anymore, and Rodgers' inability to elevate the offense has exposed the team's many flaws. This season is shaping up to be one of the biggest failures of Rodgers' career. The legacy question. Does this end like McNabb or Montana? Rodgers' current trajectory is starting to resemble that of other great quarterbacks who ended their careers in disappointment. Remember Brett Favre's one-year stint with the Jets in 2008? Or Johnny Unitas with the Chargers? Rodgers' situation isn't quite that bleak yet, but it's hard not to draw comparisons. If he doesn't turn things around soon, his time with the Jets could be seen as a missed opportunity, a career winding down in mediocrity rather than with the fanfare it deserves. Rodgers' post-game press conferences are getting increasingly somber. After the loss to Arizona, he pointed to energy as a factor in the Jets' struggles. But let's face it, when you're the quarterback, energy alone won't win games. The talent simply isn't there. And Rodgers himself has been a part of the problem. What's next? Two possible paths. So, what comes next for Rodgers? There are two main possibilities. A comeback in 2025? Rodgers could decide to return in 2025, perhaps hoping to salvage something from this lost season. His relationship with Adams suggests both players might stick around, especially since Adams reportedly agreed to join the Jets with the understanding that Rodgers would be there for at least 2 years. But this all depends on the Jets' offseason decisions, including the future of head coach Robert Saleh and GM Joe Douglas. If the Jets clean house, it might mean the end of Rodgers' time in New York. Retirement or a trade? Alternatively, Rodgers could retire after this season or be part of an off-season overhaul. If the Jets continue to struggle and make drastic changes, Rodgers might not want to come back for another season of mediocrity. At his age, this might be the final chapter. A lot will depend on how the Jets finish the season and what the front office decides to do with their roster. Rodgers' legacy, a great career. But will this season define it? Rodgers will always be remembered as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But how will this season impact his legacy? Will it be a minor blip in an otherwise storied career? Or will his time with the Jets become a cautionary tale of a legendary QB trying, and failing, to play one season too many? For now, Rodgers' legacy remains in limbo. His time with the Jets has been a disaster. And the team's failure to contend this season is a painful reminder that even the best players can struggle when everything around them falls apart. Whether he returns in 2025 or calls it quits, Rodgers' final years will be remembered for this lost opportunity in New York. How he handles the rest of this season, and whether he can somehow rally the Jets, will determine how we look back on the end of his career.